Right, we're here with Destiny's Child,
Yes.
Mr. Anthony Yarde. How are you, sir?
I'm good, how are you?
Good to see you, man. Yeah, all
You
good.
too.
Now, obviously, we're sort of gathering a few words and thoughts ahead of what should be a momentous night on January the 28th. How's your mindset at the moment? Are you relaxed and sort of chilled, or are you more intense and a bit moody? How are you?
No, I'm relaxed. I'm good. Yeah, it's the biggest fight of my career. So I'm definitely happy that I finally got to this stage, and that, again, in my mind, I just got to make it come to reality of where I'm going afterwards as well.
You couldn't be in a better place, really, though, could you? I mean, just look at you. I mean,
Yes.
you're chilled, you're confident. You're just talking to Tunde there. You're sort of 1,000% laser focused into what you've got to do.
Definitely.
There's no stopping you, is there?
You know what? Again, I'm a person that I watch boxing even before I started boxing, and I like to watch the big moments, you know, and how it all comes around, you know. And again, it's like I feel like my best performances have always been when I've been the underdog. So it's like I like being in that position at this stage in my career. And yeah, I just feel like January 28th is going to be a very special night for me.
And of course, it is at what used to be known as Wembley Arena. I'm going to take you back in time to the 9th of May 2015,
Pro debut.
when a certain Anthony Yarde, a young Anthony Yarde,
Yes.
made his pro debut. Now, I can't remember if you were second or third on. I think you came on after Nick Webb.
Yeah, I was second.
Second, yeah, Nick Webb was on first, wasn't he? And you came on and you did 15 seconds into round number two. Seems like an eternity ago now, doesn't it?
See, it does feel like it was a while ago, but that moment is very fresh in my mind. Those are the days I was doing the weigh-in on the day, fight same day. But yeah, for me, it's, as you said, destiny. You know, I had my pro debut in that arena. And I'm about to have my unification bout in that arena and leave the unified champion in the world.
Bit of trivia for you. You remember who was top of the bill that night?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Sure? I think he pulled out, didn't he? I think he was meant to be.
Boy, that shows you how focused I am on myself. Because that's the last thing I remember.
Yeah, I think he pulled out of that fight. I think it was an injury or something. And Bradley Skeet was top of the bill.
Okay.
And it was the fight where we had that draw between Frank Buglioni and Lee Markham.
Okay.
But you realise, out of the whole card, you are one of only two active fighters
Today.
still fighting left today.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. Because again, I told you that I watch boxing. It's a long road. It's a long road, and I've just always been focused on myself. You know, I've always paid homage to the people that, you know, made it to the heights that eventually I wanted to get to. I've surpassed some of them heights, and I feel like I'm yet to still surpass some of them heights. But for me, if I wasn't focused on myself, I don't think I would have got here. So a lot of people saw it as like I was, you know, lying or being silly when I said I don't know who's on the same card as me. I don't know who the people that's in my weight class. Some of the guys that was in my weight class. I've always just been focused on myself. The Buglioni thing, like when that was happening, that whole saga, when you know, people were talking about us fighting, you know, and I thought that fight was gonna happen. It didn't end up happening. That's why I don't focus on no one but myself, because you don't know how someone else's career is gonna go. You don't know their decisions. You know, I was adamant that fight was gonna happen at one point because it was getting spoken about so much. Then he retired. So that hasn't slowed down my career in any way, shape or form. So that's why I've always been an advocate of focusing on yourself.
To be fair to you, you've got the same sort of, or you had the same sort of mentality then as you do now. You had that same sort of intensity to your thought process and everything when I used to speak to you back then at the Peacock or see you around. You haven't actually changed a bit, even though you're an old boy now. I don't think I will ever change. I remember me and Tinley had this conversation years ago, and he said to me, because I'm very like, he
he says tight because that's the word to say. But I'm not tight. I just remember where I've come from. I remember the days I had no money, and I understand. People say, "Oh yeah, there's no value in money." Well, it clearly is. I understand the value of £1, the value of $1, because I've been without. So I don't waste money. If I feel like I'm overpaying for something, if I see an ice cream for £7.50, and I know that I can go to another shop and get it for £3, oh wait, oh wait, that's just my personality.
Tunde trying to say that he has to buy the coffees all the time?
No, because he would say to me, just buy it, because it's, and he kept saying to me, when you get rich, and when you get a lot of money, what you're gonna change? I said, no, I won't. Because in my mind, I've already got a lot of money. And this is when I had no money. This is when I had, I was collecting pennies together from wherever to get to Vegas. And when I actually got to Vegas, I've always had that same mentality. I don't disvalue it, because I understand what it's like to go without. So instead of buying useless things, you buy things that you want, or that you can use for this time being, or that you can enjoy. But if I can get something for £3.50, I'm not paying £10 for it.
So we're not seeing any purchase of yachts or anything in February, no?
No. That will come in good time. I feel like there's priorities as well. You've got to have priorities in life.
Think back, I think it was fight number 3, about the experiences you've had. You were given that experience of going on last. You went on about midnight in Harrow.
Oh yeah.
And you only actually got, I think I wrote it down here somewhere, you got 100 seconds work that night.
Yes.
For hanging around in Harrow.
I remember that. I dropped the guy with a jab to the body. I remember that's what I'm saying. I've got that kind of memory where I pay attention to everything that's happened in my career. I remember I watched the fight of Floyd Mayweather when he jabbed a guy to the body and dropped him. So I feel like that was a moment that I remember from that night. I remember I threw a quick left hook, right hand. And yeah man, there's so much things that just flashes, highlights. When you mention the things, there's something that flashes in my mind of that time. And yeah, that's what I remember. I dropped the guy with a jab to the body.
Now then, your famous 12 amateur fights, you mention it occasionally. Frank mentions it forever.
yeah.
But I was making the point to Tun just earlier, just this theory I've got. But I mean, it was your own fault you only had 12, if you recall, because you kept knocking everyone out, didn't you? So they didn't want to fight.
And the time frame as well. I started boxing late. I had my first amateur fight when I was 19. I got into boxing when I was 18.
So you got 12 senior amateur fights. It's more than a lot of kids have these days,
I
isn't
didn't
it?
have no junior bouts, no schoolboys, no junior bouts, no straight into the adult boxing.
My point is though, do you think that having such a limited experience or outlook gave yourself and Tunde a blank canvas to work with? So you weren't this sort of textbook amateur style fighter which was all drilled into certain things. You literally had a blank sheet of paper, a canvas to design the prototype fighter that you wanted to be. Is there something in that?
I think Tunde would agree with this. When I actually came to Tunde, or I met Tunde, I had a style base already, based on people that I had watched, or people that I wanted to, mimic or, remix. That's what I call it, a remix, a fighter. With Tunde, I thought that Tunde helped me evolve my boxing skill. I was very powerful. I trained as an amateur. I trained with Tony Cisse up until around 7 fights in, and I was still training with him. Obviously, I carried on my amateurs, and even as a professional, he used to come and join some of our sessions as well. But from I started boxing, Tony Cisse used to say to me, "You're sitting in your shots too much. You're being flat-footed. You need to be in and out, little shots. Yeah, you're powerful, but you want to be in and out, in and out." And I kept replying to him saying, "Tone, I want to be a great professional boxer, not a good amateur. And he used to be like, okay, well, you're gonna have to learn. I said, I know what you're saying, Tom, but I've got a plan in my head. I'm gonna knock out everybody. And he's like, you can't do that because you won't get no fights. I had my first fight, I knocked him out. I know the guy as well. We're actually friends. And the second fight come, I couldn't get a fight for around 3 months. And Tony said, see, because of your physique, the way you look, and you knocked out somebody, no one wants to fight you. So the second fight, I tried to, I did. I boxed the guy. I still won. It was clear I won. O'Hara Davis was there shouting down the arena. Everyone was there. No one really clapped when they announced the guy as the winner. The guy had bloody nose, bruised eye. I looked how I look now. And they gave him the decision. I went to their show, an army show. And even afterwards, the guy come in my change room and tried to give me his medal and said, "Oh, you won that." I said, "No, keep it." I said, "No, I'm upset. I'm not gonna." I told, as I said to you before, if I don't get the fight, I don't get the fight. But I'm knocking at everybody. That was my mentality. After that fight, I knocked out everyone I fought in amateurs, even in competition. So I've always wanted to have that great professional boxing style.
You could kind of say that history repeated itself, isn't it? Because when you actually did hold back a bit, as we've talked about before, and stopped being you, and you tried to play the judges and play the longer game, didn't work, did it?
Facts, and that's what I'm trying to say, is that I don't feel like that's to do with anyone but myself. I had a mindset going when I started boxing, and the second I tried to change it or I listened to people, can he go 12 rounds? When he fought Kovalev, he should have had a few more rounds under his belt, so he can go to 12 rounds or whatever. I went away from what I knew, because I know why the Kovalev fight didn't go my way. I know why that fight didn't go my way in the amateurs. I know why they gave the decision to Lyndon Arthur in the first fight. So all these things that have happened, I've always gone against what
natural instinct
and what I said I was going to do from the beginning. That's why after that first fight with Lyndon Arthur, I said, no games. I know exactly what I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I want to do it.
Kind of like Back to the Future, isn't it? So.
Back to the Future.
To be fair though, it's like people have always talked about you being explosive and the sort of beast from the east and big banger and all this sort of thing. Yeah. But you have always worked your way through fights and been quite patient, haven't you? You've never really gone in there and just sort of ripped it up. You've normally you've had a look, and the jab has always been a strong point for you, isn't it? So you've got that fundamental. It's not like you go in like a wild animal, is it?
Do you know why? Because I feel like in boxing, how much do you see a person just go in there and start swinging? All the biggest knockout punches. So you got Triple G. He didn't just go in there and just try and hit people and just knock them out. He had a tactical approach. He had an excellent jab. He used to weigh down his opponents. Mike Tyson, people called him a brawler, disrespectfully, for years. And only now you're starting to see people do like more technical sides to boxing and say, this guy was actually a masterful counterpuncher. It's not just like, because again in professional boxing, everyone's a professional. So even when you're come early in your career and you're fighting guys, again, you're meant to beat, quote unquote, you find guys, prospects struggling with these guys because you don't just go in there and just knock someone out. It don't work like that. It's boxing, it's an art. You gotta pick someone apart and land the shots. I said this earlier as well, I said, my thing that people don't, it's like I'm a powerful, accurate puncher. So I find the shot. Once I find it and I land it, the person's gonna feel it.
When you drifted away from being you, as we say, like, was it part of it because people keep telling you as you go up the levels you're not going to be able to stop these people, you're going to have to rely on your boxing a bit and go longer? I mean, that's probably part of the reason why you sort of drifted into it, isn't it?
It's a mixture, because in my mind I said to myself, yeah, I don't want to run into the unknown, but at the same time I don't want to have someone else's career. Because that's what happens in boxing, is that you end up having someone else's career. people are telling you, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. If I listened to everyone that was saying things, I would not be where I am today. When I started boxing, people said all sorts of things. Also, until I do it. So
it's a compromise, isn't it?
It's a compromise. You can't please everybody. Boxing, every sport really, you cannot please everybody. You know, if you're punch perfect. When Mike Tyson was knocking at everybody, when we were watching one of his fights, and I put the commentary on loud, and they said, you know, people are starting to say that he's fighting nobodies, and you know, people always gonna have something to say. Then when he went 10 rounds, they said, oh, he's not the real deal after all. So it's like you can't please everybody. If you go 10 rounds and you win every round, you don't get hit at anything. People are gonna be like, that guy he thought was a nobody. You know, but he didn't knock him out. We wanted to see the knockout. And then you're gonna get some people saying, oh yeah, but you know, he knocked him out too early. What's he learning from that? What's he learning from that? Yeah. He's learning how to knock someone out. That's what he's doing. And that's been my thing as well. The more I knock somebody out, it's like I've just learned how to do it in different ways. That's the way I see it.
Historically and famously, you've always said you don't take any notice of your division or your opponents. This, that and the other. I've thrown names at you in the past and you've batted them straight back to me. Has this changed now?
The level, I'm at the top of the food chain. So I'm at the pinnacle of boxing. I'm at the pinnacle of my weight division, pinnacle of boxing. Has it changed? Not really. It's still more on focusing on myself. But again, I've grown, my team's grown, and it's more about, you said it earlier, you know, me and Tunde, it's kind of, we had a blank canvas. And then we got to this stage, and we got to the stage before, you know, against Kovalev. The difference is we went to Russia, which was difficult in itself. As you can all imagine, it wasn't no Moscow, or it was a Chelyabinsk or somewhere that nobody can really pronounce, that no one really knows of, really. It's like coming to London and going to, I can't even give you like a popular place. What's the place we ran? That was it. Like a place that no one knows of. That's a bit rough. You know, we had to have armed security with us, armed. So little things like that show you like what we faced when we were in Russia. But we're learning. So something we have started doing is team analysis. And I feel like that's what, again, you going through a career is very hard to try and do everything. But whatever we've done has worked for us, and that's what it's about. What works for you? You know, Gervonta Davis has got his system, what works for him. Floyd Mayweather had what worked for him. Mike Tyson had what worked for him. Julio Cesar Chavez had what worked for him. You know, and they pass it on, but there's only one Chavez. They pass it on, but there was only really one Floyd. They pass it on, there was only one Tyson. Customary done it with Patterson as well first, but again, there's only one Tyson, there's only one Patterson. So you can learn, but you're your own person. So I've always had to say to myself, you know what, nobody's been like me coming into boxing. No one's come with 12 amateur fights. No one's made it to the top of the mountain, knocking at everybody, and it's never been done before. Maybe I don't get the credit I deserve yet. Am I ever looking for validation? No, because again, I know the sport, how it works. Someone's always gonna be displeased or want something more. But yeah, what we've done in boxing is unheard of so far.
A gentleman not a million miles from us now always says, but in boxing, timing is everything. Is this the right time to get Beterbiev?
I think so. You know, no one can really say that. You know, people do talk about age, but age comes with a lot of things. Age comes with how much punishment you've taken. Age comes with the individual and their discipline. Age comes with all sorts of different things. I haven't paid no attention to this thing about age, because he's very experienced, he's very explosive, and if you look at his recent performances, he hasn't looked like he's slowed down, to me, in my opinion. So certain things is not for me to play on. For me, what you said is everything is timing, and it's my time.
It's more to do with you.
It's more to do with me. It's like, am I ready? Is it my time to become that person I wanted to be, or I want to be, and that I'm destined to be? You said it before, destined.
Destiny's Child.
Destiny's Child. So I feel like it's time, the right time.
I want to talk to you about something you are associated with, or both of you have been, and that's a bit of razzmatazz. Over the years, you've put a little bit of showbiz into the sport. Yeah. I mean, you can have like an open workout and you can have somebody there going boom, 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 and everyone just looks at it and goes, but then you came in and you try and do something different. You try and put on a bit of a show for people, give them something to film. Yeah. Sometimes that backfired on you though, didn't it, for some reason, even though you were giving, but then it generated a perception of you which wasn't really fair. Yeah. True,
but again, there's nothing that I can really, there's people that love it. There's people that they thrive on my open workouts. Because I get a lot of it. I get people messaging me, I get people coming in saying, oh man, we love you so much. I've had people screaming at me on the street, not because of the level I've made it to, but because of what I represent for them. And then you got some people saying, oh, you're so tacky. Why is he shouting lions in the camp? He's just shouting, what? It's tacky, it's so cringe. You can't please everybody.
Making yourself stand out though, and that's what you've got to do in this game, isn't it?
In a way, it's like, that's not something that I did on purpose. It's just my personality. I'm an entertainer. I love to entertain. When I go to an open workout and they're just doing these boo, like, I don't really want to watch it. I used to watch Floyd Mayweather's open workouts because they were so entertaining. Maybe Mike Tyson, these people you want to watch because there's an entertainment factor. Oh, what's he going to do in the open workout? And then the fight comes, wow, what a fighter.
I mean, actually, to give a different spin of the coin, the negative side of your type of workouts has probably given a worse perception of Tunde than you, isn't it? You're there because it's said, and it's given this perception, but all he does is tippy-tappy pads and shouts and chants and all that. Again, he's been trying to put on a show, but then it's given across his perception where people sort of say, oh, he's just a motivator. He's not tactical.
I don't feel like that's Tunde.
Well, it's not, but that's the perception that people took from it, isn't it?
But then that's
rightly or wrongly.
I feel like it's very similar to, I've seen, and again, I'm going to say it because I say what I want. Andrew Tate is very outspoken. He says some things that are not good, he says some things that are good, depending on people's opinions. There's people that have been going around on social media interviewing people saying, what do you think of Andrew Tate? And they're saying the same thing because it's what they've heard. They're saying he's a misogynist, he's a feminist, he's this, he's that. So they say, what does misogynist mean? The people can't answer it. They're just saying something, they're repeating something they've heard before. And I'm looking at it, I'm laughing, I'm saying, wow, because they're saying, okay, he's saying something bad against women. They're saying, okay, can you quote what he said against women? Because the media has made everyone say the same thing. So when you ask someone now, what do you think of this person? Everyone, again, the sheep thing. Everyone's following the herd. They've heard something, so they repeat the same thing. So with Tunde, it's quite similar. One thing gets said by somebody, maybe on a mainstream page.
Run with it.
Everyone runs with it, but no one's heard him. Tunde don't really talk during my workouts. He might say a couple things, but he's not really a talker. It's Ade. That's Ade in my camp. Yeah. Ade's the one shouting, lions in the camp. We don't get weak, we get deep. I'm shouting, come on then, let's work. Blah, blah. I'm there. Tunde's the one going, all right, relax.
You let you knock him over every now and again.
You get what I'm saying? I'm like pushing me, you know what I'm saying? Let us have fun. Tunde's the one saying, relax. Like. And sometimes Tunde would, again, join in. Lions in the camp, come on man, dig in, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, that's
been used as a stick to beat you both with though, isn't it?
No, but it's good. It's not, for me, it's like, it's a conditioning stick. You got different views of how people deal with things, but again, I only see the positive side to everything. And for me, the positive side to everything is that there's loads of people that love it. Tunde gets a lot of stick. Maybe he's done some things in the past which I didn't agree with, or he didn't agree with when he looks back on it, or that some of the public didn't agree with. He's done a lot of things where he's a genius. Great businessman, excellent trainer, excellent tactics, a system that he's put in place that no one's ever done before in history, based on other greats. People don't look at these things. People don't look at my career, how it's gone. Some people do, but some people don't. But I focus on people that do. People that look at us as the hood heroes so far. Do you know what you guys have done? Oh my gosh. I didn't believe that this was possible, but now I opened my own business because of you lot. You lot come from nothing. You lot actually came from, what? I never heard, how? How did this happen? How did you lot get to this stage? You didn't go Olympics. How are you on the main stages? Why is everyone talking about you guys? Oh my God, he's had 23 fights, 23 wins, 22 of them are knockouts. But we need to watch this guy. It's a team effort. It's me, Tunde, Ade, James Cook's now with the team. Joel, you know, and I always say this. They say it. Teamwork makes the dream work. Even you've been interviewing me from day one. You're part of the journey as well.
Right, I'm just going to stop and start this again. Right, pick it up again. You started off as a Box Nation boy.
Yes.
And then you became the BT poster boy.
Yes.
And in effect, I believe, the most recognisable light heavyweight in the country. Maybe owing to what we've just been talking about before.
Yes.
But as part of that, you are a team that's grown together, as you referenced. But what I'm getting at is that yourself, Tunde, Frank Warren, the band has stayed together, hasn't it?
Of course.
And that's a nice story, and you don't see it a lot in this day and age.
Yes.
Give me your thoughts on that.
My thoughts on it is that everyone's different. Everyone's got their personality and their character. I had a tattoo when I was, just before I started boxing properly, and it says, in life we go through different struggles, but how we deal with them makes us who we are. Then it says character. So your character is based on how you deal with adversity and how you deal with good, like the positives that happen in life, like life-changing situations. Who is he going to turn into when he makes it? Who is he going to be when things don't go his way? That's your character. That's the real you. Everyone can put on this face and, you know, put on this, how do you do? I'm the happiest person in the world. Who are you really underneath? Who are you at home? Let's say everyone wears two faces. My face don't change. The same way I'm at home, same way I'm here, same way I'm in the gym. There's times where I'm not in the effing mood. Don't chat to me because I'm human. I'm just not in the mood, bro. Like what's wrong? Go away. I'm human. There's times like, oh, come on, man, it's fine. Everyone's hugging and because I'm human. But one thing about me, and this is something someone has to sit down and tell me, I haven't changed. From when I was in school, I was in primary school, I've got the same friends. Me and my friends G-check each other all the time. If someone's doing something wrong, like, bro, what's that? You're moving mad. Everyone is honest with each other. When certain things didn't go my way, we had little G-check conversations. Yeah, but, you know, I remember you was doing this, was you even focused? Like, what? Certain conversation, you need them kind of people around you. So I've got the same friends. My circle's very, very small. And when you're talking about the team staying together, Tunde's human. I'm human. Frank Warren's human. Frank Warren's been in the game for a very, very long time. And Frank Warren has a big part to play in me getting a second opportunity for even bigger prize. I've been with Frank from the beginning. I'm a very loyal person because Frank Warren also understands business. You know, Tunde, business. Anthony Yarde, business. We're in the sport of business. If I wasn't valuable to Frank Warren, I wouldn't be an asset. I wouldn't be valuable to him. I wouldn't be someone that's used. If I wasn't bringing nothing to the table, I wouldn't have got my shots. I wouldn't have been entertaining. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like it's called business, love and business. They call it love and basketball, I call it love and business. Everyone's got their role to play.
Did you need this kind of setup, this sort of pastoral care almost, of you having almost a one-on-one trainer? You know, you operate in a very tight environment. Like, would it have worked for you if you'd have gone to, say, a gym where you've got 10 youngsters or 5 youngsters all working together? Or did you need this kind of real sort of honed in sort of bond, one-on-one type attention?
You know what, it just ended up like this. It didn't start like this.
There's nothing to do with your sort of your personality or... It
just ended up like, it all flowed. I believe in, you know, you go with the flow. I believe in, as you said earlier, I believe in destiny. I believe in what's meant to be is meant to be. What's gonna be is gonna be. This is why I don't get nervous for fights. Because I feel like you make the most of what you got, you work your hardest, and what's gonna be is gonna be. You know, you do your job, what's gonna be is gonna be. In my reality, it's excellence. And that's because of my dedication to the sport. I'm the strongest believer in God and how everything works and all them kind of things. So that's just me as a person. And one thing I'm understanding, if you don't work for something, you're not getting nothing. So you've seen me early in my career. I've always been that person. I'm the hardest worker in the room. Early, there was loads of us. There was a time when we was in Peacock Boxing Gym. And remember, I came to Tunde when he had loads of fighters. He had a few fighters. We were standing on the ring and there was 11 people on the outside waiting to spar. I had to spar each and every one of them people. People say we didn't spar, so we find it funny. Each person we get to spar. Then you come out, yep, next person in. Who's gonna crumble? if you can't stay in, get out of here.
Royal Rumble, isn't it?
Yeah, you get laughed at. Get out of here, get out. But I was always that person. I was so competitive. You know, when I came in, I wasn't the star in the beginning. I had to work my way in.
He made you come in at 6 o'clock in the morning, test you out, didn't he?
5 o'clock in the morning. Everyone knows I'm not a morning person. I don't like waking up early. I like waking up but at the same time, you always have to go into a discomfort in order to be comfortable. So that's what I believe in, the destiny thing. It was all meant to be like this. You know, Tunde is, you can't deal with Tunde. You know, Tunde is hard to put up with, but so am I. And over the years, we've learned to understand each other. We've had our arguments, but it's literally like a family organization now. We're like a family business. That's literally how we all run now. We all understand each other. Ade plays his role. Ade is so fixated on play your position. No. He calls Tunde Cap. I call him uncle, he calls him Cap. He's like, no, Cap. Pay what I pay. That's not me. No. I'm doing what I do. He's the big. Ade is so funny because he's so fixated on doing his job. He knows what his attributes are. He's a key player. He knows what his attributes are and he's doing it to the best of his ability. Ade is an animal. So when it comes to motivating me or pushing me to that, F that, dig in. But I just done 12 right. I don't care. And he'll hit me, don't dig in. And he's shouting. All that stuff, because I come from East London and I come from I had to build up a persona, same as Ade did. When you're growing up in East London and everyone's getting stabbed around you, it's alpha mentality. It's a lot of alpha ego. What's wrong? I'm gonna put my chest up, I wanna be able to protect myself. You have to have that, no one's beating me. No one's stronger than me. I had this thing from when I was in school. I would find the biggest guy and I'll be like, come, me and you. Like we used to play grips in games, grab each other, see who's stronger. I always want to go for the biggest guy. I'm like, if I take the biggest guy, the rest of them are gonna crumble. I always had that, and that's what I'm saying about mentality. Ade's got that same thing. Tunde's got that same thing. So when we're sat lines in the camp, it's friendly competition with each other. You have no choice but to train. It's not I want to train thing, or I've got this diary and I'm like, oh yeah, today I'm gonna train for an hour, I'm gonna take 3 days off and let my body recover. I don't think the old fighters did it like that.
What's the wise man from the East brought to the party?
Who, James Cook. James Cook has brought experience. He's very calm. He's brought an experienced voice, an experienced eye. And again, he's brought a bit of that old Jamaican discipline to the team as well. He's like, listen, shut up, you hear me? So he's got that old school Jamaican. And again, I'm Caribbean. So when he's talking, he's reminding me of like one of my uncles, where when he starts talking, he's like, but no, you hear me? And he's a shut up, right? And all these jokes are very offensive. So he'd be like, shut up before I go. Anyone that's Caribbean will know that, and he brings that to this, but he's very experienced. You know, he fought at a tremendous level. He's very respected in boxing. He's very respected in British boxing, and there's a reason for that. And that's what he's brought to the table. Someone that's actually fought at that level. Remember, I always said this from the beginning, Tunde is a genius. Tunde has created something off of his mind, and from going and studying and created a system, he's created something. But Tunde had 5 professional fights. And I don't think don't quote me on this, I don't know what level he got to in them 5 fights. I'm assuming it wasn't no championship level. And with that, he's done what he's done so far. So again, I'll say round of applause for Tunde for what he's done so far and what we're going to continue to do. And the thing that I'm most proud of Tunde in is that when we done things, remember, we haven't had a perfect career. When we done things that wasn't right, we all made mistakes. Tunde's ego helps him in a lot of areas, helps him push, helps him be in the gym every single day. But then Tunde let his ego go when it came to certain things and said, this is what he does his face and he goes, this is what I need to get better. That's hard for a grown man to do.
Self-analysis.
Self-analysis. It's hard for a grown man to do because everyone thinks they're perfect. Or everyone thinks like, no, I've got my system in place, I know what I'm doing. Tunde said, okay, that's what works. That I need to do better. I've clocked it. I have my criticism. Tunde takes it on. Tunde has his criticisms against me. Ade has his criticisms against me. James Cook has his criticisms against me. We all criticize each other, but at the same time, we all give each other props. So then what happens is the team grows, the team gets stronger. Everyone has their analysis. And I feel like we've seen it. My last couple of performances have been ferocious. It's been beautiful. So I feel like with that, you're gonna see the best version of me, and I'm happy.
We'll come to the last question now. Now this fella Beterbiev, whatever people want to call him.
I think Beterbiev, with one T, Beterbiev. Yeah.
Supposed to be a bit of a banger.
Yes.
His record suggests that, and we've seen bits and bobs of it. Now then, I asked you years ago when everyone was saying, wait till Yarde takes one on the whiskers, we'll see how good he is, you know. You don't get any respect until somebody clocks you one. And you said back then, but Overall Mackenzie made you see stars in the old Peacock. Is that still your sternest chin check?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And that was with a head guard, but at the same time I was wearing a head guard that didn't have no chin. So he hit me so hard. But it brought, and that's when I said, yeah, professional game it is, because he was about to, one of my close friends, James, he always talks about this, and he said he remembers watching that spar. Over Mackenzie was preparing for a world title fight, which a lot of people said he won.
The Argentina one.
He was preparing for that fight, and I was sparring him for it, and everyone was so like, oh my gosh, like Anthony's like this talented young kid in the gym, but he's sparring over Mackenzie. Are they sure? Like, should he be doing this? Over Mackenzie will even tell you himself. I won the spar, but within that spar, he hit me so hard in my chin and in my body, couple shots, and it showed me what I was made of. So when I did get hit, and hit me with a good right hand, I didn't even make it noticeable. Obviously everyone saw and heard the shot. Didn't wobble. All I've done after that is I started walking him down. I started picking him off with different shots. Since then I've sparred a lot of people, big bangers. And in fights as well, it's different when you got 10 ounce gloves on. I've been hitting fights, I'll walk through the shots. Lyndon Alpha, they said, oh, his right hand was hurt in the first fight. I walked through his right hand, they said, oh, because it was hurt. He hit me in the second fight, right hand. That's when he upset me and then he got stopped. There's been other fights where, again, you get hit with clean shots, but
it doesn't actually seem to knock you off course, does it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But in this sport of boxing, the reason I'm never focused on it, because I'm like, okay, you can say all that about me, about what's he going to be like when he takes a punch. I hope we never find out. Because this ain't a sport where you want to be taking shots to show that you're tough. I don't want to get hit at all. I want their punch percentage ratio to be 0.00 on the scoreboard.
Good luck with that one.
That's what I want it to be. That's what you're aiming for in boxing. They say that in boxing you can't be perfect, but that's what you aim for, to be perfect.
Anthony, January 28th, he's closing in rapidly. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
We couldn't be more with you, and can't wait. Thank you.
I can't wait either.
Cheers, Anne.
Thank you.